I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do. You gonna play an unmuted ad? You are, because you are a dick. Okay, I just bounced the stream. Tell me whether or not that sucked. And if I missed anything. So, not having the normals correct really made your planets look like the water was rising above the land. And I think your normals would be a big help there. I'm going to go over to Twitter and briefly whine. Dear Twitch, please stop unmuting streams to play ads, especially if it's the stream preview. It's super obnoxious. Thank you. I almost used correct English. Kind of vaguely close to correct English. So, can everyone see the stream and hear me and all that stuff? All I see is Catboy King saying, ah, and he could have been saying, ah, at any of the 85 videos he's got open. Okay, so when we kill off the loaded cursor by hitting escape, we simply delete all of the components, and then we set the active component equal to null. On the other hand, when we actually put the object down, we set parents and then set the active component to null. So there's no difference. Why does it break? If active component is null, then unloaded cursor, otherwise loaded cursor. The only thing I can think of is that maybe the deletion includes itself? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Let's do a little bit of research here. We'll go ahead and select the mirror cursor and see what happens when we delete an object. It's fine, it's just not moving. This is fascinating. Why is it not moving? Oh, of course, the cursor's unloaded. It's not going to move. So what we've got to do is hide it or move it away. Here we are. If cursor lock state. So we don't actually care about the lock state anymore. Clean this up so it's not quite as heavy. Drakenhawk says, yes, hearing is good. Great to hear it. Welcome to the stream again. I wish I could restart the stream without segmenting it into multiple videos, though. Oh well. So, presumably, this needs to go here. I can't imagine that that's all that we need, though. That seems really silly. Well, see, these shouldn't remain here is the problem. I think that they remain there either way. We just never clear them away. So what we're going to do is up here in the active component section, here it is. When we set the active component, we end up destroying all of those objects anyway, so there's no reason for us to do it twice. We can just set it to null. Boom, 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 boom. So up here, when we set the active component to null, what it does is it destroys all of the objects inside of the cursors. And then it sets the active component to null. Sets the highlighted component to null. Set the active component to a value, which is going to be null. And then it sets some transforms up. We're going to go ahead and say that if the active component is null, so if active component equals null, then we're going to want to move the cursors somewhere safe. So, for example, here. This is good. And Pink Hair says Twitch is back. It's been a long time since I've heard from you. So hopefully, hopefully you didn't miss too much. Come on. There we are. Alright, so hit this. Pop up some stuff, put it down, grab some stuff. There we are. We can press escape, and it's gone, but this still works. We can pick it up, we can move it around, we can rotate it, we can do all sorts of fun stuff. Let's lock them together. Bump. Fist bump. Wonderful. Alright. Everything seems a lot better than it did when I started. We got a camera that only somewhat sucks. We got full rotation capabilities, although it sometimes bugs out. We've got the ability to pick things up and move things around and drop them. And we've got the ability to escape and drop those things so that they don't exist anymore. All told, we're doing real well. Catboy King says, I'm working on a 3D RPG, but the project has been left sitting for a long time and I don't know where to start again and I need to find my motivation again. Generally the best answer is not to. You learn, every time you fail at a project, you learn a little bit. And if it's been a long time, hopefully the ideas you had are different now. They're more mature, both in the characters and the story and in the programming and in the art. Obviously, you shouldn't just willy-nilly restart projects, but if it's been like a year, generally you should just restart it, unless someone is paying you. Pink Hair's having a rough time with my stream, and I'm sorry to hear that. But, to be honest, I'm not sure what I want to do next. What do you guys want me to do next? Erost says, watched your No Man's Sky gameplay video, so how about some short conclusion on that experience, aka a rant. You can find the conclusions I've made over the next week. I posted a video and 3 essays on how to do generative content, all of which basically say No Man's Sky has some cool algorithms, but it presents it to the player in the worst possible way. In fact, last night, I believe, I posted a... I'll go over to Project Perko and pull it up. I posted an essay about world weaving. And to be honest, I think that this is a pretty powerful concept, so I might as well post it into chat. Here's an essay about world weaving, which is sorta what I couldn't find in No Man's Sky. But that stuff is just design. It's not really a rant. I don't think that No Man's Sky is bad enough to rant about. If you play it real slowly, you'll probably enjoy it. I just find that I enjoy Subnautica more because I am a base building sort of person. I love building bases. I also made about 8 prototypes. So there are lots of games I would like to be working on that I'm not working on. Most of which are actually quite small, so I've sort of thought about doing them off-screen, or at least making computer prototypes instead of paper prototypes. In particular, there are a couple of super small ones about base building. Shocking, I know. What should I do? I mean, in theory, I could go off and play video games again, but I did that last week. I should make more progress here. The next thing I was going to do, looking at the list here, serialize interior room slot. Click correctly to change room in slot. No more visual named that. That I might have to fix. I might have to figure out what the heck I was talking about. But I'm always happy to talk about my opinions on stuff. It's just that I very rarely feel that something sucked. I often have complaints, like I really hate how No Man's Sky will kill you with its achievements. But, you know, those are just complaints. It's not really a rant or hate. Okay, well, if I'm gonna go and try and build rooms, then I'm gonna go ahead and see what it looks like at the moment. Drop in some habitable room. Where's my habitable room? There it is. Hit F2. Hello? There it is. No interiorable room, no clickable interior, but visual in the ship interior. The prefab is not set up right. That's fine. Catboy King says, I want to still pursue the same general ideas, but there is a lot I want to redo. So it might help just to restart it to make it cleaner and fresh. Well, RPGs are inherently absolutely massive, and both for the player and for the developer, long breaks will clear your brain out, and you'll forget all of the emotional grip that you had on the various things in the game. So I find that if you're going to try and either make or play an RPG, you really have to do it almost every day, or it'll drift away from you. That's one of the reasons why this isn't an RPG, because if I take 4 or 5 days off from this and come back to it, I can remember, oh yeah, there's just this technical thing I have to implement, and I don't have to have an emotional resonance with this technical thing. So if there is no clickable interior visual, if we take a look at our ship construction base, interiorable construction control, ship interiorable control, room control prefab, none. No clickable interior visual. Now let's find a clickable interior visual. I'm sure I've got one. Clickable interior visual. Clickable interior visual. Do I not have one in any kind of UI here? Well, darn. Well, let's create a clickable interior visual. I don't actually know what they are anymore. Already got one of those. So Catboy King says, I know I can break it down to a simple slice of a game. I've been through a year of school and started my first job in the industry since last time I really worked on it. That sounds like a pretty significant chunk of your time. Small games are often the best, not in terms of return on revenue or return on investment, but in terms of being able to complete them. So if you can make it small, that's generally the right thing to do. But you have to feel connected to it, you know? Even if it's a small game, if you don't care, you're not going to be able to finish it. So here we get room slot visual. So we've changed this from no clickable interior visual to no room slot visual, because that makes a lot more sense. So we're looking for getting the component in the ship interiorable control. This is the interiorable control here. So we're looking for a room, we're looking for a thing inside here, a room visual control. There we are. This. We don't have one. It just doesn't exist as far as I know. So we'll create one. Why are you zooming in down there? Aren't you a... You're just a transform? You're not a canvas? Alright, well guess what? You, sir, are a canvas. Room interior visual. Room slot visual. Sloit. And now we can see what we're doing. Let's go ahead and create some stuff here, like a panel. Hurrah! So we're going to put the room off on the right-hand side of the screen. Catboy King says he feels connected to it, but it's been several years. Yeah, definitely go for small. You can always think of it as episodic if you prefer. Pink Hair says, I figured out my problem. My photogrammetry project was taking up so many resources that my browser choked. I can't help you with that. So we want this panel to occupy the right side of the screen, like so. We're going to go ahead and set it up so that the pivot's on the right side of the panel, like so. And then we're going to go ahead and set the position to say 10, 10, or negative 10, negative 10. And with the width and the height we'll set to, I don't know, 80 and 80. We'll go ahead and work on this a little bit here. 80 and 80 is not the right size. Let's go ahead and make it 200 by 80. More or less correct. The text here, we're going to have a couple of pieces to it, so let's go ahead and make this visual like this, and then we'll put one piece of text up here, and this will be the name of the room. Yeah, font size 1. Go ahead and set this up like so. There we go. But obviously that's not quite what we want. Let's go ahead and trim it. Boy, that didn't work. Come on. You gotta have really precise fingers. It's clear that this panel is not big enough, so 260. There we go. So what did I miss? Well, I'm making the room visual now, the room interior visual that pops up when you mouse over a room. And it will give you the name of the room and the description of the room, and when you click, it'll add in all of the details and controllable elements. We'll go ahead and make this smaller and less bold. Well, I think bold's probably still good because it's not very bold font at the moment. One thing I was looking that I thought looked awkward about your shipbuilding was lack of any grid, maybe toggleable. The grid is live, it works, it just doesn't have any visual associated with it. So I think that once I put a visual in for the grid, that'll look great. The problem is I don't really have an easy way to do that. I was thinking about just putting in a giant plane with some marks on it, but I haven't really decided on the best thing to do yet. Anyway, this one's the room desk, like so. And when we look up here at the room slot visual, it has spots. Oh, we don't have any room slots here. There it is. It's got spots for these. Room name, room desk. So when we hit save, we can hide this, hit play. I think using a plane would work, I just haven't really gotten around to it. One of the issues is that I want to scale the grid based on how large the ship is going to be. Because the 1 meter grid works fine for this kind of ship, but we're probably going to want like a 200 meter grid for something the size of a Star Destroyer. I haven't really... I'd be getting ahead of myself, but I can put in a 1 meter grid at some point. Just gotta do it, I guess. Boop. So you can see that there is text up there, and when I mouse over, it says what I'm looking at. So I think what I need to do is make this turned off as well. Yep, Pink Hair, you're right. Just putting a grid in would work fine. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'd have to draw a grid and pixel art somewhere and then import it and put it onto the plane, you know. Perfect. Look at that. But clicking does nothing. The thing you want to instantiate is null. So there's no room control prefab on our ship interiorable control. So here's our ship interiorable control. Let's go ahead and rename this ship interiorable control. And we don't have a room control prefab. The room control prefab is what's going to go on underneath that to be our set of parameters and stuff. We actually have that already in existence. It's right here. So we'll just go ahead and pop it in. Boom. Voila. Now you might be wondering what sort of additional features we're going to need, and the answer is pretty simple. While we can set up the individual rooms here, in this mode we need a more complicated room control that allows us to switch the room out for other rooms. So we're going to need like a room select, and that's going to have to be a different control. And I don't really know how I want to do that just yet, because I haven't really thought about it any. It's been like 2 weeks since I was trying to do that. I got distracted by all sorts of other things, like making shit actually work. What's with these walls? That's some screwy lighting. Major Craig to room control. I can't think of any punny lyrics to say. Oh well. Alright, well, I guess what I'll do at the moment is post to Twitch, or Twitter rather, that I am working on this stuff. Why not? Yep, my camera is floating in the most peculiar way. Good catch. Screenshot Saturday. Streamin' the dev. I made rooms work again. Gotta make room switching a thing. Whew. I've been talking too much. My head's feeling kind of fuzzy. Oh, Holly's here says I should just mute the Twitch chat tab right in Chrome. Brilliant. I hope Twitch doesn't have any other audible things it might want to use to tell me about subscribers. And I'm going to try it. Can I mute? I don't remember how to mute. Can you only mute when it's actively playing noises? That's obnoxious. All right, so in order to make this so we can select different rooms, we're going to need a new pop-up, which isn't hard, but we're going to need a pop-up that can read the room's options settings. It's not the room, it's the room slot. So if we look here in our specific thingy-mabobber, here it is. Nope, yeah, here it is. This here has a couple of things in it, but the rooms aren't the rooms. They're inside of a slot. So here we've got a room slot, and then the room... So here we've got a room slot, and then here's the actual room itself. So the room slot actually lists its options. So we're going to create a new thing that will actually give us buttons that will switch out the rooms. We already have a list of the room slots, so... Pink Hair says you can right-click the tab and hit mute. I can't? Oh, there, I can. You're right. Hurrah! Thank you for your help. Alright, so in order to do that, we're going to edit the room visual, because that's the script in question. This here. Room control. This is it. So the room control, let's go ahead and add a lot of comments because we're going into some territory that's going to be a little bit rough later on. So when the player clicks on a room, this control will set up the various features they can use to customize the room. This includes changing the function of furniture, but it also includes changing the fundamental room when the player is editing the ship in dry dock. So this here is tooltip, the canvas, the UI element, not the 3D object. But when we start up, we don't have any concept of whether or not to include this. So what happens is, this is a super simple setup where we've got a UI element that is just a vertical list, and we just shove widgets in there. Each room has each piece of furniture has its own widget. We just grab all those widgets and stuff them into the content. We need a second set of functions that looks for the room switch controller, and if it exists, fills that up with stuff. So we're gonna have to rename this. So this is no longer content. It's gonna be rename furniture content, and we're gonna have to fix it, unfortunately, because that'll break it. We could do a previously serialized, I guess. Let's try that out. Previous serialized. What's the phrase? It's a formerly serialized as. Bye, Pink Hair. I'll probably be done by the time you get back. Let's try this here. Unity, formerly serialized as. It is just formerly serialized as. Let's try that. Formerly serialized as content. Does that work? Well, nope. It didn't work. Because I need to add in serialized. That's too much work. That's just one element. Who cares? So let's go over into UI and fix it up. So we got the room control right here. And we're just going to drop this into the game world. And I honestly can't remember whether it's the panel or the... There it is, content. So we'll just drop this content in here. And save the room control. Hurrah! And that'll work, no problem. But we're also going to need an additional transform, public transform room switch content. room chooser content. Room chooser content. Room choice. Tooltip. If exists, can switch rooms in slot. Should work. So here in setup, we set it up with a specific interior room slot. We're going to need to have a this.room equals room. We're going to want to set up our system more carefully. So here's start, right? And in this, it actually does all of the work where it creates the room. We're not going to want to do it there. That's a bad place for it. So we're going to put it in here. Now let's make sure this still works. Yay, works fine. So the reason I did that is because that will allow us to reboot this when we change what room we actually have. But we're going to need an additional for each. For each room prefab in room.options. So here, set up the furniture editing options, and then down here we do set up the room choice options if possible. So we say if room choice content does not equal null, then for each blah 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 blah. So now what we've got to do is we've got to create a room choice visual, but we don't have such a thing. There is no such thing as a room choice visual, so we're gonna have to make one. Room choice visual. Don't really know if that should be in shipped. It's kind of rough. Well, it's okay. Room choice visual. Hello? Sets up a clickable button that allows you to change a room in a room slot. Now, the room choice visual does not have any concept of what room choice it's going to represent just yet. So what it's going to have is a public text room name and room desk, and it's also going to have a public image room icon. With that in mind, we'll have a setup, public void setup, room, public room, room. And we'll say this.room equals room. And we're going to have a public void click. And for the public void click, we're going to just assume that the room control exists. So room control equals, well, we could do this. See, the problem is we're going to have to spawn a lot of these. So we're either going to have to do it by an event and then sign up for the event, or we're going to have to do it. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it by an event and sign up for an event. Public Unity event. Sorry, it's not actually a Unity event, is it? It's a room event. Public class room event inherits from Unity event room. Something like that. System.serializable. Public room event on click. So the question is, what's the easiest way to sign up for the event? And I think, well, the easiest way to do it is to do it in room control. So for now, let's set up this. If room name does not equal null, room name.text equals room.name, room name. If room desk does not equal null, then room desk.text equals room.desk. If room icon does not equal null, debug.log room icon not yet implemented. There we go. And that should be all we need for the room visual. But we're going to need this here. Public room choice visual room choice prefab. So down here we're going to say room choice visual v equals room choice visual dot instantiate room choice prefab v dot set parent v dot setup, and we're going to want to set it up as the proper room. So room prefab, and we're also going to want to do v dot transform dot set parent room choice content comma false. We're also going to want to set up our response. So protected void room clicked room debug.log warning room clicking not yet implemented. Call this room choice click. So we say v.onClick.addListener room choice click. So with that in mind, we actually have to create the room choice visual here. It shouldn't be too hard to do. Let's go ahead and pop up our visuals here. So this is where we put our text, but the text is in a really bad spot. So let's go ahead and move this panel to here. Now the room choice, I think we want to put that on the left. So let's just... Okay, so when we pop up this, it's its own field. We're not looking at the right thing. Room control, here we are. This will be a room choice control. Drop that in as a new thing. Boom. And that's going to be our ship interiorable control here. The room choice control goes here. And this is, of course, a much more substantial set of options. We're going to duplicate this. This is going to be scroll rect furniture. Duplicate. And this is going to be scroll rect room choice. And we'll go ahead and just move this one to the other side. Like so. And this will be room choice content. And this one will be furniture content. Up here in the room choice control, we'll just drop in the room choice content here. And now we're going to go ahead and create, not a particle system. Go ahead and switch it over to this. There we are. I guess this needs to have a content size. Preferred height, 58 sounds good. For now. Make it opaque, please. And we will call this a room choice. We will call this having a UI text. This will be the name. Room name. And then we'll want to make this a little bit taller. It's a little not tall enough. And this will be duplicate and move it down, I suppose. Doop. There we go. Up. And this will be the room desk. And after all of that, I've done it wrong. Oh no! We actually need a button. So let's go ahead and move these into the button. Don't need you anymore. The button will have a layout element. Size of 80. And the button's background sprite going to be the same. There we are. Highlighted color, let's make it something noticeable like yellow. And pressed color, make it something like red. There we are. The room name, reattach it. Room desk, reattach it. Come on, give me the frigging widgets. Well, that was a... Why isn't it giving me the widget? What the hell? Oh, because it's the wrong thing. There it is. Brilliant. 5 and drag it this way. There. Let's go ahead and shrink it down. Don't need it that big. And that should do. Let's go ahead and call this room choice. And we will go ahead and add in a room choice visual. On click, drop in the room choice, make it click on itself. I forgot to make a click, so public void click. On click. Hello, JojoJet. It's getting pretty late, so I'm not sure how much more stuff you're gonna see from me today. Come on, regenerate. Come on, behave yourself. There you are. Took you frigging long enough. Alright, so drop the room name into the room name, drop the room desk into the room desk. There's no room icon, and there's no room. And that should do. Let's drop the room choice into our UI prefabs. Oh, that's a material. There we are. And we're going to go ahead and delete it from here and put it right back into our list. There it is. Room choice prefab. Boom. So we'll go ahead and save that, delete it, and give it a shot. Well, unfortunately for Twitch, they are making obnoxious noises, so I've got to mute them. I sure hope that there's nothing that Twitch does to try and help me remember who's in chat and who's subscribing based on noise, because I've seen that a lot, and I can't really do it if I have the thing muted. Alright, so now we've got the rooms. Here they are. Some buds, some medical gear. We click. I thought I clicked. It errored. Why did it error? First off, let's delete this. Boom. Boom. But let's also look up the error. What's the error? Come on. Error, error. There it is. The thing you want to instantiate is null. So I'm instantiating room control as null. I did. I somehow lost track of it. Okay, well, that's fine. Jojo just says, I think that's an OBS thing. No, I mean, Twitch is unmuting the ads, so it's not an OBS thing. Unless you mean monitoring people who come into the chat or sign up. I don't think OBS knows how to do anything like that. It's probably not something I'll ever use because I hate air horns. There we are. Look at that. Bunk room or medical room. Woohoo! We can now switch. That said, we have to tell it how to switch. So let's go ahead and do that. Good news, switching is actually quite easy. All we have to do is change which room is in our interior slot. So to do that, we first are going to have to delete any room if it exists. So if room choice, oh, that's not it. Room choice click. If room, so I have to room choice. There we are. So I actually have to just tell the room to take a room. So current room equals room choice. There we are. So that might seem a little bit odd, but what we're going to do is we're going to make the room slot handle its own implementation. So to do that, we have to open up the room slot. Ooh, I'm starting to get really hungry. That's a room slot visual. I just want the room slot. That's a room choice visual. There it is, room slot. So the room slot has this current room here. I'm going to make that an underscore. Public room, current room. We're going to say get return current room set. If current room does not equal null, then destroy current room dot game object. Current room equals value, or if, and then we're gonna have to actually make the value exist. So room dot instantiate room value. So we're gonna say current room equals room dot instantiate value. Current room dot set parent. Current room dot transform dot set parent transform comma false. There we are. That should do. Oh, forgot to set it up. No, we did set it up. We did everything right. Everything seems to be fine. The only problem is that we're now going to have to regenerate some of our prefabs here. Let's pop on over. The biggest one is, of course, the 5-meter hab rooms. Because we just changed the name of the room slot. So if we drop this into the world, we can look into the rooms here. And you can see how the current room is now empty because we changed the name of that variable to add an underscore. So we have got to drag those back in, hit apply, and delete that. Now let's go ahead and give it a shot. 5-meter hab rooms. Here we are. Boom. Click. Bunk beds. It works so easily. This is what you do when you've got a good set of objects, a good set of object-oriented classes. You can do shit like this in 10 minutes. So, the only thing left for us to do is we have to regenerate this system when we click. And the reason for that is simply because it's a different room. So we've got different controls. So the room slot visual is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the room control. So when we set this up, we're going to want to then reset it. So set up room. So we'll pop in our room here. 5-meter hab rooms. F2. So let's see whether or not this works. There's nothing in the medical room right now, but if I switch it into the bunk room, I get beds. But I also get multiple entries into the rooms. So what we're going to do is delete all of the existing ones. For each, transform T in room choice content. Destroy T.GameObject. That'll do it. I think that's probably a great place to stop. Any questions? Any comments? Anything you want from me before I leave and have a really early dinner? Oh, I forgot to have lunch. That's why. I had such a bad time shopping for shoes. I need new shoes, and eventually I just gave up and went home. But it made me so angry that I didn't eat lunch. Brick and mortar stores are the worst. Although I also don't really want to be the guy that shops for shoes on Amazon. Oh, by the way, any of you remember there is some kind of trick that I'm supposed to do with playing in order to make it so that I'm playing dev or something? I don't know what that was. Or programming, maybe? Programming. There we are. Creative. That was what it was. Programming. There we are. Update. Jojo Jet, it's a type of store. Any store that is made of brick and mortar, or any store that has a physical location, is called a brick and mortar store. And they compete with Amazon, which is a brick and mortar warehouse, but not a brick and mortar store. I'm going to go ahead and delete the streaming video off of YouTube so that I don't get any latecomers at this late moment. Boom. Close. Go back over to Twitch. I might as well head over to my video manager and do some uploading while I am here. I didn't upload... why this one's called Subnautica, because apparently I'm an idiot. Spaceship stuff, August 17th. I don't think I uploaded that. Let's go ahead and upload it. As a Twitch stream. 2016, Aug 17. Just a Twitch stream. I play some Subnautica in it as well. Export. And then here we're going to export this. Twitch stream August 20th. 2016, August 20th. Not Subnautica, but just some programming. Export. And then I'll finish up by exporting this. All right, well, I've given you all a chance to ask questions. I only had about 4 viewers today, but that's just about the right amount to keep me from getting too distracted. Feel free to come by again on Wednesday. I'll be starting up about 40 minutes ago on Wednesday, or next Saturday. I'll hang out and chat just a little bit in case any of you have anything you want to talk to me about. See ya.